Hey everyone, welcome back. So I know you're all here to level up your mental game, and that's awesome. We're diving deep into this article, How to Be Mentally Strong, 14 Ways to Build Mental Toughness.
Sounds intense.
It is, but in a good way. This article is packed with insights.
Mm.
It's like a mental gym workout for your brain.
Love that. So what's the first exercise on our agenda?
Well, first, we got to stretch those mental muscles a bit. The article throws around these terms: mental strength, resilience, and mental toughness. They seem pretty connected.
Yeah, they're definitely all related. But the article actually makes some distinctions, which I think are important. Like the APA, the American Psychological Association, they define resilience as, let me see, the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or even significant sources of stress.
Whoa, that's a mouthful. So basically, it's like bouncing back from tough situations, right?
Exactly. It's about how you handle those curveballs life throws at you.
Gotcha. So where does mental strength fit into all of this? Mental strength is kind of like the foundation. It's about having that inner fortitude, that ability to manage your thoughts and emotions, even when you're stressed or facing challenges.
So it's like the stronger your mental foundation, the better you can bounce back.
Right. And that's where mental toughness comes in. It's
Hmm.
kind of like the culmination of mental strength and resilience. It's about that unwavering determination to push through obstacles and achieve your goals no matter what.
So resilience is bouncing back and mental toughness is pushing forward.
You got it. They go hand in hand. And to help build that unshakable mental toughness, the article dives into this awesome concept, the 4 C's of mental toughness.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me. What are these 4 C's all about?
Well, first up is control. It's about how much you feel in charge of your life, your emotions, your reactions, all that. It's like that sense of, hey, I'm the captain of this ship.
I like that. Taking control of your own destiny. Makes sense. What's next?
Next, we have commitment. This is about sticking to your goals, your plans, your commitments. It's about having that discipline to stay the course, even when things get tough.
Like that follow through, right? Not just making promises, but keeping them to yourself and to others.
Exactly. It's about consistency and reliability, both internally and externally. And those are key ingredients for resilience, wouldn't you say?
I can definitely see that. Okay, so we've got control and commitment. What's C number 3?
All right, so number 3 is challenge. And this is about your mindset when it comes to obstacles and setbacks. Do you see them as a threat or as a chance to grow?
I guess it's about how you frame those challenges, right?
Exactly. People high on this scale, they see challenges as an opportunity to stretch themselves, to learn something new, to come out stronger on the other side.
So it's not about avoiding challenges altogether, but about facing them head on.
You got it. It's about embracing that growth mindset.
Right, bring on the challenges. What's the final C about?
Last but not least, we have confidence.
I think we all know what confidence is, but how does it specifically relate to mental toughness?
Confidence, in this context, is about trusting in your abilities, even when you're faced with uncertainty. It's about believing in yourself.
So it's not about being arrogant or cocky, but about having that inner belief that you can handle things, right?
Exactly. It's a quiet strength, and it plays a huge role in how you approach those challenges and setbacks we were talking about.
Okay, this is all making a lot of sense. We've got control, commitment, challenge, confidence, the 4 C's. But how do we actually build these things? Does the article offer any strategies?
It does. In fact, it lays out 14 different strategies for building resilience.
14. We might need a whole other deep dive to unpack all of those.
Huh, yeah, maybe. But for now, maybe we can focus on a few that really stand out.
That sounds good to me. What's the first one you'd highlight?
Let's start with something super practical and something that research really backs up. Skill acquisition.
Skill acquisition. How does learning new skills contribute to mental resilience?
Well, think about it. Every time you learn something new, every time you master a skill, you get this boost of confidence.
I see it's like, hey, I did that. I'm capable of learning and growing.
Exactly. And that sense of accomplishment, it spills over into other areas of your life, making you more resilient when you face challenges.
Makes sense. So what's another key strategy the article suggests?
Goal setting. And this isn't just about making a wish list. It's about setting meaningful goals, goals that align with your values, and then making a plan to achieve them.
Okay, so it's about having that clear direction and taking those concrete steps to get there.
Exactly. And every step you take, no matter how small, it reinforces that sense of control and progress.
It's like you're building momentum, proving to yourself that you can actually achieve what you set your mind to.
You got it. And that can be incredibly motivating and empowering, especially when you hit those inevitable bumps in the road.
All right, so we've got skill acquisition, goal setting. Any others that really stand out?
This one might sound a little intimidating, but it's super effective. It's called controlled exposure.
Controlled exposure. Okay, I'm listening.
It's about gradually facing your fears. Like, let's say you're terrified of public speaking. You wouldn't just jump on a stage in front of 1,000 people.
Oh, no way.
Right. Instead, you'd take smaller steps. Maybe you practice in front of a mirror, then with a friend, then maybe a small group.
I see. So it's about breaking down that fear into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Exactly. And as you successfully navigate each step, you build confidence and resilience. You prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought you were.
I like that. Facing your fears, one step at a time.
Hmm.
Any other strategies you want to touch on?
There are actually a few others that I think could be really valuable.
All right, lay them on me.
Well, one that often gets overlooked is the importance of social connection.
Social connection. How does that tie into building resilience?
Think about it. When you're going through something tough, who do you turn to?
My friends, my family.
Exactly. Having those strong social connections, a supportive community, it makes a huge difference in your ability to cope with stress.
So it's like having a safety net, knowing you're not alone.
Exactly. And those relationships, they offer a sense of belonging. They remind you that you're loved and valued.
That's so important. Okay, social connection check. What's next?
Another crucial aspect of resilience is having a positive self-view.
That sounds a lot like self-esteem.
It's related,
Yeah.
but it's more about having a generally positive and accepting view of yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, everything.
So it's about self-acceptance, not just self-esteem.
You got it. It's about recognizing that you are worthy, regardless of your flaws or mistakes.
I can see how that would be important for building resilience. If you're constantly beating yourself up, it's got to be hard to bounce back.
You're right. When you have that positive self-view, you're more likely to approach challenges with confidence and self-compassion.
Okay, so we've got social connection, positive self-view. What else?
This one is huge EE, but people often neglect it. It's prioritizing self-care.
Self-care. Okay, preach. I'm guilty of neglecting that one. But seriously, why is it so important for building resilience?
Imagine trying to run a marathon without any fuel or rest.
Oof. Recipe for disaster.
Right. Well, self-care is like fueling your mind and body. It's making sure you're meeting your needs, getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising, doing things that bring you joy.
So it's not selfish, it's essential.
Exactly. When you prioritize self-care, you're actually better equipped to handle life's challenges. You have more energy, more resilience.
Makes sense. I've got to put that higher on my to-do list.
We all do. It's an ongoing process. And speaking of ongoing processes, building resilience is definitely a journey, not a destination.
That's a good reminder. It's about those small, consistent efforts we make every day that add up over time.
You got it. That brings us to a couple of even broader perspectives on resilience that I found super interesting. Mental stamina and community resilience.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about those.
Well, you've been doing a fantastic job exploring those tools for bouncing back from tough situations. Mental stamina is about taking that resilience to the next level. It's about building that mental endurance to stay strong and focused, even when those challenges keep coming at you.
So it's like the marathon of resilience.
Perfect analogy. And just like physical stamina, mental stamina can be trained and developed over time. The article actually gives some concrete strategies for doing that.
I'm definitely curious to hear more about those. What about community resilience? You mentioned that earlier, and I'm not quite sure what that entails.
Think of it this way. We, as humans, we're social creatures. We need each other.
True.
And when a community has a strong sense of connection, a shared purpose, it creates this powerful buffer against stress and hardship.
So it's like individual resilience, but on a larger scale.
Exactly. And the article actually digs into some really interesting ways that communities can bolster their resilience. But I think we'll save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. I'm already feeling inspired to build up both my personal resilience and maybe even explore how I can contribute to my community's resilience.
I'd love that. And I think you'll find the next part of our conversation even more thought-provoking.
Okay, listeners, we'll be back after a quick break to dive deeper into mental stamina and community resilience.
See you soon.
All right, welcome back. So, before the break, we were getting ready to dive into those strategies for building mental stamina. Remember, this is all about going beyond just bouncing back. It's about developing that long-term resilience.
Exactly. It's about having that mental endurance to keep going even when things get really tough. And the article offers some really cool tips for building that stamina.
Sweet. What's the first one?
One that really stands out is the power of thinking positively.
Okay, that makes sense. But doesn't that get a little, fake? Like forcing yourself to be happy all the time, even when you're not feeling it.
I hear ya. But it's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's more about actively choosing to focus on the good, on the solutions, on the opportunities, even when you're in the middle of a tough situation.
So it's about having a more hopeful and proactive mindset.
Exactly. And that positive outlook, it actually impacts your actions and your interactions. It creates this ripple effect of resilience.
Okay, I like that. What else can we do to build that mental stamina?
The article talks a lot about the power of visualization.
Visualization. I've heard of that, but I'm not sure I totally buy it. It seems a little too, I don't know, woo-woo for me.
I get it. But visualization is more than just daydreaming. It's about creating a really vivid mental picture of yourself successfully overcoming a challenge or achieving a goal.
So it's like giving your mind a preview of success.
Exactly. And when you visualize that positive outcome over and over, you're training your brain to believe it's possible.
Interesting. So instead of focusing on what could go wrong, you're focusing on what could go right.
Right. And that shift in focus can make a huge difference in your mental stamina. It helps you stay motivated and less likely to get derailed by fear or doubt.
Okay, I'm starting to see how that could be helpful. What are some other tips the article suggests?
This one's especially important for anyone who's super goal-oriented. Planning for setbacks.
Ooh, that sounds smart. Like having a backup plan.
More like acknowledging that things don't always go perfectly. By anticipating those potential obstacles and thinking about how you'll handle them, you're much better prepared to deal with them when they actually happen.
So it's not about being pessimistic, but about being realistic and proactive.
Exactly. It's about having that mental toolbox ready to go when things get tough.
Love that analogy. Okay, so we've got positive thinking, visualization, planning for setbacks. What else?
Another key element is stress management. We all experience stress, but it's how we manage it that impacts our mental stamina.
True, true. I know stress can totally drain my energy and motivation.
Exactly. The article suggests things like meditation, mindfulness, even deep breathing exercises, or progressive muscle relaxation.
So it's about finding those tools that work for you to stay grounded and centered.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, there's so many different approaches. It's about finding what resonates with you and incorporating it into your routine.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. Building mental stamina is really about taking a holistic approach to well-being, our physical health, our stress levels, our mindset. It's all connected.
It absolutely is. And speaking of interconnectedness, that brings us back to that other fascinating topic we touched on earlier, community resilience.
Right. We were talking about how communities can come together to support each other and rebuild after facing adversity.
Exactly. And the article highlights some really powerful actions that communities can take to strengthen that collective resilience.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of those actions?
Well, one of the most important is reducing risk and resource inequities. It's about making sure that everyone in the community has access to the resources they need to thrive.
Resources like.
Things like quality education, healthcare, job opportunities, safe and affordable housing, all the essentials.
Right. If people are struggling just to meet their basic needs, it's got to be hard to be resilient in the face of bigger challenges.
Exactly. It's about creating a more equitable society where everyone has the opportunity to flourish.
Makes sense. What are some other actions the article mentions?
Another crucial step is engaging local people in mitigation efforts.
Mitigation.
It's about getting people involved in identifying potential risks and coming up with ways to prevent or minimize their impact.
So it's not just about experts or authorities coming in and telling people what to do, but about empowering communities to take ownership.
You got it. When people feel empowered and heard, they're much more invested in finding solutions and working together.
I love that. It's about collaboration and collective action.
Exactly. And the article also emphasizes the importance of creating strong organizational linkages.
Okay, what does that mean?
It's about fostering collaboration and communication between different organizations within the community, government agencies, nonprofits, businesses, community groups, you name it.
So it's like breaking down silos and getting everyone on the same page.
Exactly. And those strong relationships between organizations, they're crucial, especially during times of crisis when you need to be able to respond quickly and effectively.
Like having a well-coordinated team, everyone working together towards a common goal.
You got it. And of course, we can't forget about the importance of boosting and protecting social supports.
Right. We talked earlier about how social connection is crucial for individual resilience.
Well, it's even more important at the community level. Strong social support systems, families, friends, neighbors, faith-based communities, support groups, they all contribute to that sense of belonging and create a culture of care and compassion.
It's like weaving a safety net that can catch people when they fall and help them get back on their feet.
Beautifully put. And these support systems, they benefit not just individuals, but the community as a whole.
Makes sense. Any other insights the article offers about community resilience?
One that might seem a little counterintuitive, planning for not having a plan.
Wait, what? That sounds like a paradox. How can you plan for not having a plan?
It's about recognizing that we can't anticipate every single challenge that might come our way. There will always be surprises, unexpected events that require us to improvise and adapt quickly.
So it's about cultivating that mental flexibility, being able to think on your feet.
Exactly. That adaptability, that willingness to embrace uncertainty, it's a key ingredient in building community resilience.
Okay, I'm getting this now. It's not just about having all the answers in advance. It's
Yeah.
about having the mindset and the skills to deal with whatever comes your way.
You got it. And that's what makes resilient communities so powerful. They're prepared, but they're also flexible and innovative.
This has been so eye-opening. I'm seeing how interconnected everything is. Our individual resilience, our community's resilience, it's all part of the same tapestry.
I love that analogy. And the article really drives home this point. Building resilience, whether at the individual or community level, is an ongoing process.
It's about those consistent efforts we make day after day to cultivate those skills, those connections, that mindset.
You got it. And that leads us to one final powerful point the article makes. Resilience is often built in routine situations, but it's truly tested in times of crisis.
So those everyday challenges, they're like little training sessions for the bigger ones that life throws our way.
Exactly. And it's often in those moments of crisis that we discover our true strength.
Wow, that's deep. And I think it's a perfect note to end on.
I agree. It's about embracing those challenges, learning from them, and using them to become even more resilient.
And remember, listeners, you're not alone on this journey. We're all in this together, building our individual and collective resilience one step at a time.
So true. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to be the strongest, most resilient version of yourself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into building mental resilience. Welcome back, everyone. So before the break, we were just starting to unpack this idea of community resilience. You know, how communities can band together and bounce back from tough times.
Right. It's such a powerful concept. And the article actually highlights a few really insightful ways communities can boost their resilience.
I'm definitely interested to hear more. What's the first thing on the list?
One that really stuck with me is this idea of fostering a sense of belonging. Making sure everyone feels like they're a valued part of the community.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, if people feel connected to each other and to the community as a whole, they're more likely to support each other when times get tough.
Exactly. It's about creating that sense of shared identity and purpose.
I see. So it's not just about geography, it's about those social bonds and shared values that hold people together.
You got it. And when those bonds are strong, communities are much better equipped to weather storms and come out stronger on the other side.
So how can communities actually foster that sense of belonging? Does the article give any specific suggestions?
It does. One thing it emphasizes is the importance of creating opportunities for people to connect with each other.
Okay, like what? Community events, volunteer opportunities.
Exactly. Things like that, where people can come together, interact, build relationships.
Makes sense. The more people interact, the more likely they are to form those bonds of friendship and support. What else does the article mention?
Another key factor is promoting inclusivity and diversity.
Okay, yeah, that's super important. Making sure everyone feels welcome and respected, regardless of their background or beliefs.
Absolutely. And when communities are truly inclusive, they tap into a wider range of perspectives and talents, which actually makes them more adaptable and resilient in the face of challenges.
I see. So diversity is not just a feel-good thing, it's actually a strategic advantage.
Exactly. And the article also talks about the importance of investing in community infrastructure.
Infrastructure, like roads and bridges.
Well, that's part of it, of course. But it's also about investing in things like schools, libraries, parks, community centers, the places where people gather and connect.
Right. It's about creating those physical spaces that bring people together and foster a sense of community.
Exactly. And these spaces, they often serve as lifelines during times of crisis. Think about it after a natural disaster Where do people go for shelter and support?
Community centers, schools, places like that.
Exactly. So investing in community infrastructure is not just about creating nice amenities, it's about building resilience.
That's a really interesting perspective. I never thought about it that way before. Are there any other points the article raises about community resilience?
One more that I think is really crucial, especially in the times we're living in, strengthening communication and collaboration.
Okay, yeah. Communication is key in any relationship, right? So I can see how that would apply to communities as well.
Absolutely. It's about making sure there are clear channels of communication between community leaders, organizations, and residents.
So everyone's on the same page, working together.
Exactly. And this can be especially important during times of crisis when you need to be able to share information quickly and coordinate efforts effectively.
Makes sense. If everyone's working in silos, it's going to be much harder to respond to challenges.
Exactly. So building those strong communication networks and collaborative relationships, it's essential for building community resilience.
This has been such a fascinating conversation. I'm feeling really inspired to think about resilience, not just as an individual quality, but as something we can cultivate together as a community.
I love that. And I think the article does a beautiful job of highlighting the interconnectedness of individual and community resilience.
It's like they're two sides of the same coin, right? We need both individual strength and strong, supportive communities to
Yeah.
truly thrive.
You got it. And the article leaves us with this really powerful message. Building resilience is a journey, not a destination. It's an ongoing process of learning, growing, and connecting.
So true. It's about those small, consistent efforts we make each day that ultimately make a difference.
Exactly. And whether you're focusing on building your own personal resilience or contributing to the resilience of your community, remember that you have the power to make a difference.
That's such an inspiring message, and I think it's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into building resilience, everyone. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're all in this together.